Hello everyone, MarvelDCFan here with our next set of LPs, and because we've been on kind of a LPs based on review binge, I figured it'd be fitting if the next two were you know, well, actually, you know what, that wasn't the plan originally. Green Lantern just kind of started out as like a tie-in to the review I was doing last year, but coincidentally, Hulk Ultimate Destruction was also a game that I reviewed. So I guess we're now just for these next two games, they're just kind of stuff that I already looked at and we're doing videos for. So yeah, today we are going to be starting our next Marvel playthrough with Iron Man, and wow, and man, it's been a bit since I've talked about Iron Man. I want to say the last time I did a video about this game in particular was back in July of last year with our the start of our revisited series on the channel. So that's pretty good. And so yeah, I was just going through games of stuff that I've already covered, and I was like, you know what? Let's do Iron Man, and the next game being Superman, which you'll see the first part of that tomorrow. So there is a lot to look forward to with the Iron Man game. Also, I should preface this saying that this is probably going to be a very short playthrough because this game is like you can beat it in just a couple hours. So, but yeah, we're here, and we've got a really not so good looking Robert Downey Jr. Look at that face, Rick. Look at that. Like, look at that face. That face is saying something for sure. Welcome, Mr. Stark. So yeah, we're here at the first mission. So yeah, Iron Man. I guess I should kind of get into my history with the character because usually that's how these LPs kind of start. So my exposure to Iron Man was through the '90s animated series. The thing is, I remember we watched it on an old VHS tape. I forget what VHS tape it was because it might have been on a Hulk VHS or something like that, like for the Incredible Hulk cartoon around the same time or so. But there was a tape that had it was an episode of the '90s animated series with basically going over the origins of Iron Man. Like it cuts back and forth between his origins, and then he's also trapped in like a glacier. Like he's trying to fight like Fing Fang Foom. He gets trapped in the glacier. It seems like all hope is lost, and he's basically recounting his origin story. I don't think that was the first episode of the show. I might be wrong, but I remember it being kind of like a interesting episode. It's been a while since I've gone back and watched the Iron Man show. I'm planning on buying they have the complete series on DVD, so I gotta get that at some point, so I can complete my Iron Man DVD collection. So that was the first exposure, and I remember he popped up in other shows. Like he was in the Hulk show, I think, for a couple episodes. He was in Spider-Man, the animated series, which was also another prominent kind of thing. Um, he was they had some of his episodes included in the Venom Saga uh, DVD and VHS, which I did watch as a tiny toddler. That's also how I first got exposed to Daredevil, so that's pretty. Or it's like that in the 2003 movie. But anyway, so yeah, he was in Hulk, he was in Spider Man. He might have been in the X Men cartoon. I can't exactly remember, or at least he made a cameo or something. Um, maybe even the maybe even in the Fantastic Four show too. He was all over the place back in the 90s, so I mean, it was cool, the idea of this guy in this kind of mechanized suit just kind of going around and giving people the business was was pretty neat. So, yeah, he was all over the 90s stuff. And of course, being raised in the 2000s, it's just kind of something I caught attention to uh, later on. But I'm trying to think of like other prominent appearances, like besides the movies. We'll get to the movies here soon, but um, so yeah, that was the start, and I think one of the next appearances I remember after that was uh, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Um, because after you leave the helicarrier, which is the first mission of the game, your first kind of hub area is Stark Tower. So you get to explore around Stark Industries, see the inner workings of like the offices and stuff, and then you can just go behind the water fountain and see like his hidden lab that he's got. Uh, like Iron Man was just cool. No matter who you are or when you were exposed, Iron Man was just a cool character. Um, Speaking of Fantastic Four, he was also in the World's Greatest Heroes cartoon, which is actually one of my favorite episodes that I remember. Um, Doom steals like some Iron Man or takes control of the Iron Man suits, and he almost collapses Stark Tower, and then of course Tony swoops in. He was kind of on his like, can't work with anyone type era, I guess, or at least in that show, he didn't have like he didn't have War Machine or anything like that helping him out. Like he was just kind of on his own. He's being a real smartass about it. Um, yeah, that was 2006, 2007. Also, does anyone else remember the the Invincible Iron Man animated movie from around that time too? I think it was like 2007. This was right before the MCU. Um, I, as a kid, like I remember getting that at a at like I forget the store. I think it was like the Source or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Um, but yeah, I remember not being particularly fond of that movie. Um, like I just couldn't get behind like the 3D animated models for like those gods that he fights, and even the Iron Man armor itself, because a lot of that was 3D animated and it didn't look that great. Oh yeah, speaking of animated movies, Ultimate Avengers was also another point of like another thing I remember the character being in. Uh, he was pretty great in those movies. Like the first Ultimate Avengers, particularly, I remember he was really good in like that scene where he saves the airplane and stuff. Like that was pretty cool. That was pretty great. And then it was he's teaming up with the Avengers, or I guess it was more so like that. Those movies are more so based on like the Ultimate Universe. I mean, everything was based on the Ultimate Universe around that time, so it was just kind of like the trend setter, sort of. So, and then of course there was the movie, which the movie I'm gonna like the movies I'm gonna talk about in a separate part, and just kind of the MCU in general. But I remember seeing the trailer for the first Iron Man online on our shitty computer, and like it was just cool. Like it was just the whole thing about Iron Man that always stuck out to me, no matter beforehand, like his many appearances and like the comics and stuff. Like he was just always like, it was just cool. Like the idea of this like kind of this mech, this wearable mech that you can fly around and shoot missiles from and all that. Doing all types of shit. And also he was also a billionaire too, so he was getting all the women, all the bitches. So that was fun. Um, yeah, Iron Man is just a great character, and I'm kind of glad that the mainstream audience really got a taste of what main comic like the just his kind of popularity after the movie just sort of skyrocketed, and yeah, it was pretty great. So and it seems like from then on, uh, we just couldn't get enough of Iron Man. So I guess talking about some other appearances that I remember, there was Iron Man Armored Adventures, which was an interesting departure for them to kind of go into, because they essentially just made him they just essentially made him Spider-Man. Like that's really it. They just made him Spider-Man. Like he went to high school, he had a secret identity and all this. Like it was a lot of the kind of Spider-Man-isms that were just kind of injected into that show, which I guess like was an interesting direction for them to go in at the time. But like I just as a kid I never could get into that show. Um, I tried. I really did. Like I watched some episodes here and there, and it was kind of like like he had some cool suits and whatever. But I just could never get interested in like the story that was being told. With him like some sort of plane crash happening, and his father going missing, and so he's living with Rhodey, and then all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, you're just gonna go to high school and um, also be Iron Man on the side. Since we're mentioning great things, kind of I actually like I've seen it's one of okay Iron Man Armored Adventures is one of those things that is is on the bucket list for like rewatches and stuff. I have both seasons on DVD, and I think it's also on Netflix too. So it's something that I want to get around um, to see if it's actually good or not. But who knows? Maybe I'll even do it for a review. Um, yeah. I guess one kind of thing we'll mention before we take off is Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Love that shit. That was great. Uh, Probably like besides the movies, probably like my favorite version of uh, Iron Man in any medium. I love the story that was being told there. I love the suits. I love Tony's voice, and also his just kind of character arc as the series continues. Like, it's really good. If you haven't watched uh, Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, literally, what are you doing? Go do it now. So yeah, that is going to be it for the first part of Iron Man. Stick around for next time as we continue on and deal with some shenanigans happening at Stark Industries. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. I will see you all next time. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course, don't forget to take care of yourselves. See ya.